Hey everyone. So, I haven't made a video in a while. Well, actually, I've made a few videos, but uh, I just did not post them. I have felt like crap. Um, Between Sean and the kids, we've all gone through colds. Um, One of my kids had strep. It's been a ridiculous winter season, and it's not even winter, fall season so far. My cat has an upper respiratory infection. The cats that I were fostering, they are back at the shelter, but we have some upper respiratory system or stuff going through pretty much a lot of cats right now. Like it's just bad. It's flu season, uh, cold season, and believe it or not, it's like that for cats too. Uh, Anyway, I am sitting on my bed while my kids are watching TV. This one's pretty much just for the ladies. Uh, so, just a little insight into our lives. So, Mariah was born with a congenital diaphragmatic hernia, which means her hernia or her diaphragm didn't form all the way. So all of her insides were up in her chest. Her lungs were like a quarter of a teaspoon big. So, I mean, if you guys want to know how big her lungs are, and you guys cook and you have measuring spoons, go into your drawer, get your measuring spoons out, and look at a quarter of a teaspoon. That's how big her lungs were. So after that, uh, after we had Mariah, we both decided that Sean wants more kids. I am still on the fence about it. But for long-term care, I mostly decided, it was really mostly up to me. Sean had somewhat of a say in it, but he respects my boundaries as far as being a woman and things I want, things I don't want, stuff like that. So I decided that I was going to get something long term. Before that, my birth control consisted of Seasonique. And Sean and I tried to have a kid. So Mariah wasn't like something where I accidentally skipped a pill. Like, that did not happen. I had ran out of my prescription, and instead of going and getting it refilled, I chose not to. Me and Sean both chose not to. And bam, here comes Mariah. So, I wanted something long term. Well, long term, besides going and getting my tubes tied, which I don't want to have to do, and Sean won't go and get snipped. So, it's kind of made it to where I was like, okay, well, what am I going to do? So, I decided to get the Mirena. I had the Mirena put in. I had to go back to get the strings trimmed. And, okay, so any girl out there, I mean, I've heard great stories about the Mirena. I've heard horror stories about the Mirena. So this year was the year that I was supposed to get my Mirena taken out. I go to my gyno, and I'm there, first I have to go get a pap. All this is coming out of pocket. Like, we don't have insurance right now. It's actually a lot cheaper just to go and pay for stuff right out of my pocket than it is to spend, like, I think it's like $500 to $600 on insurance every month. Like, that's more than my house payment, so anyway, we've spent well over $1,000 this year just on me alone to go to the gyno, to get my pap done. Then he wanted me to come back in to get my Mirena taken out. So then I had to schedule another appointment, which we all know, every appointment you get a doctor visit bill for. Anytime someone has to come and talk to you, you have to pay money. It's stupid. So, I go in, and they can't find the strings to my Mirena. So then I have to go back. I have to get an ultrasound. The Mirena was right where it was supposed to be, in the right position. They just can't find the strings. Can't find them. So I'm like, okay. So he has me come back in for a consultation, which is like another $150. A consultation to just tell me, hey, you're going to have a surgery. It's just going to be a light surgery. We're just going to, go in there. We're going to knock you out. We're going to go in there. We're going to get it taken out, Come to find out, this light surgery is like a DNC, which DNC is what women have after they've had, like, miscarriages, anything like that, to where they have to go in and they have to clean you out, like, clean it all out. From what I hear, it's extremely painful and, just hard. So, we do all that. And then, Mariah, please back out, please.
Why?
Thank you. I'll be right out. I'll be right out, okay? So, then, I am like, what am I supposed to do? I have no insurance, so, he tells me I need $900 up front for the surgery. For him. It's going to cost me $9,000 to get my Mirena taken out. $9,000 to get my Mirena taken out. So, that automatically made it to where I was like, okay, what? Who wants to go and spend $9,000 to get their birth control taken out? So, I look at him and I was like, well, if I don't get it taken out, what's the chances of me becoming pregnant while I still have it in once it hits the 6-year mark? And he's like, well, it'll still work, it might become less effective. As of right now, it's still in the same spot. Like, you can have it in for up to another year. So I'm like thinking, okay, well, that's going to be my option. I mean, I'm going to have to save like $10,000 in order to get this taken out. Well, I know someone who had been going to this one gyno, and this one gyno is actually like a public, they go in, and it's not, Planned Parenthood, it's not that, but it's something like that, I guess. Like, people go in who can't afford to go to the gyno, or don't have insurance. They go in there and, he checks them, he does whatever. Like, all these nurses and gynos are on more of, like, it's not volunteering, but I guess it kind of is. Because, I don't know. I'm not exactly sure how to explain it. But it's for, like, poorer people or whatever, somebody who doesn't have insurance. So I know someone who's going to something like that, and they're like, look, he's great. And this person I had recommended to my gyno, and she was like, no, I do not like your gyno. I don't like him at all. So I'm like, okay, that's cool. So I go ahead and get this scheduled, and I had it scheduled for like 2 months. So they were booked every single day, minus the day that I went. So I just went there this past Thursday, which was the 13th. So the 13th I go there, and I have to go through all this stuff. They ask you all kinds of stuff about, your prior history. I guess nowadays, no matter what, you have to go in and take a pee test. I had no idea. Like, I was like, what am I taking a pee test for? Well, you gotta take a pee test. We gotta see if you're pregnant. If anything shows up in your system, whatever. I'm like, okay, that's cool. I mean, I don't care, but to me that was odd. I guess I never really realized how much drugs was out there and stuff like that. So, anyway, I go in and I'm like, okay. He asks me, he's like, what are you here for? And I'm like, I have my Mirena. I tell him exactly what I just told you guys. Go over the entire story. And I'm like, minus how much it was going to cost me. I did not tell him how much it was going to cost me. But I just looked at him and I was like, I can't afford to have a surgery. Like, I can't do that. I'm like, I will go through whatever amount of pain to get this taken out. So, took about 3 different tries with just like 3 different tools. And about 20 to 30 minutes of just constant feeling like I'm in labor, like for all the girls out there that's been in labor, you get breaks in between labor pains. This was a constant labor pain. But the entire time he kept telling me, you're doing such a great job, and finally I just like laid back and looked at this poster. I don't even know what the poster was, but I like laid there, I started praying, and the next thing I hear is, I got it, and I busted out crying. I guess my strings had been, the way I took it and how it looked afterwards, I'm pretty sure my strings had grown, like, had attached themselves to my uterus in some way. Anyway. So, one of my nurses, though, she was like, you have the Mirena? I'm like, yeah. And she's like, oh, I'm going, like, I just had my second one put in. She's already done her 5 years. Now she's going to do another 5. And I'm like, I will never get it again. Ever. I will go back on pills. I'm okay with going back on pills. I can take my pills. I can take my pills every single day. I just set an alarm on my phone, and I take them when my alarm goes off. I, pick out a time that works best for me, that I know I'm going to be awake no matter what. And back in those days, it was before I'd have to go to work, so I would have to take them right before I went to work. Nowadays, it's going to be right before I put the kids to bed, because regardless, I'm going to be awake whenever I put the kids to bed. So, yeah, I will not ever in a million years get another IUD put in me whatsoever. I will take a pill. I would take a shot. Don't care. Never, ever again will I get an IUD. So anyway, the whole gist of this story was, if you're new to getting birth control or whatever, or having birth control does have side effects. Some people, it does not regulate you. Some people, it makes them moodier. Some people, some things just don't work. My Mirena did not work all 5 years. I still had a period every single month for every single year. On top of all that, once I started hitting into my 5-year mark, I started having a period like multiple times a month. So like I would go off my period for 2 days and then come right back on my period for 2 days. After 2 days, it was getting to the point to where it was becoming extremely ridiculous. And I'm pretty sure I might have a touch of high blood pressure. So do your homework whenever it comes to getting any kind of birth control, putting anything in you. Do your homework, because I don't know, if I would have done my homework and actually researched Mirena instead of my doctor just being like, yeah, let's do this, you want something long term, Mirena, that's it, that's what's in right now. Instead of doing that, I probably would have just looked at him and been like, just give me the pills. That's all there is to it. Like, you can't go wrong with birth control pills. They've been around since, the 60s? Birth control has, so. And it's no longer taboo to talk about, So this is for all the ladies out there. If you've had good luck with the Mirena, then I'm so happy for you. That's awesome. Because when you do find a birth control that works, that's like the best feeling ever. Like I said, Seasonique worked for me. I didn't have terrible mood swings. It kept me regular. I've always been regular anyway, but it was just way better for me. I felt good on it. Or to the parents that are taking their kids out there, getting ready to put them on birth control, or the kids need to be put on birth control, whatever. Do some research. Sometimes you gotta try a few in order to find the one that works best for you. If not, just use condoms, I guess. Practice safe sex. So anyway, this is pretty much just a video for the girls. That's what's been going on with me. I finally got it out, but now, I guess it's back to being a regular woman, and, I think I'm going to stay off birth control for a couple months. I just want to go back to being me for a minute. Back to, not having everything so chaotic in that area of my life. So, thanks for listening. Thanks for joining me for a little ladies chat. This is definitely for ladies, or like I said, just watch what you're doing, watch what you're getting ready to get, do your homework, and if you're unsure about it, say no. Please comment, rate, and subscribe.